Hello, this is Mr. Maximus Film. Hello to all who are still here watching my videos because, of course, for the past 2.5 months, I've been buried in schoolwork, trying to finish off the year on a high note, and I haven't put any videos out since my wall review, which was extensive and took forever to upload, and I wanted to take a break from album reviews because it was near impossible to do them when I was in school. And now I'm here, and I am this summer going to do what I did last summer, which is really make a really nice churn of videos for the next 3 months, because it's going to be really easy for me to just talk about an album one day. There's not going to be any specified day, but it's going to be really easy to do that during the summer, so it won't be as much of a frustrating process to get reviews out. Of course, I'm going to finish the Pink Floyd discography with the Final Cut, Momentary Lapse of Reason, and the Division Bell. And I'm going to attempt to do the Radiohead discography, and I'm also seeing Radiohead not this Sunday but the next, and I'm going to do a review of that, or talk about it, probably not review it, but talk about it. So a lot of different things are going to be going on this channel, and I'm going to start it with talking about the Arcade Fire, or Arcade Fire, you can call it either one, the band has even said that themselves. Arcade Fire's debut album, Funeral, released 2004. Now, the Arcade Fire are the band in indie rock this decade. They are a indie rock slash baroque pop band that are really the driving force in indie music, and they really set an example for what indie bands strive to be. And because they got so much acclaim and success from it, so they're really the standard, the model. They won the Grammy with the Suburbs and etc. And all their albums get massive critical acclaim and now commercial success as well. And their debut album is the one that people always tend to come back to and talk about the most and claim that it's their best. Now, I haven't heard every single Arcade Fire album. I've only heard two. But this one is the best of the two I've heard. Now, Funeral is a album affected by many, many deaths of relatives in the band members' lives. Many relatives of theirs died, and that's why obviously it's called Funeral. And for me, it doesn't really affect the sound too much. It's a somber record, but it's not overly somber. I mean, you still have great uplifting tracks. It's more about moving on, I think, this album, than really the funeral itself. Songs like Wake Up really capture that feel. And Neighborhood Number One, the overall feel for the record, not necessarily the lyrics, but the feel is very uplifting and moving on and retrospective. And the whole album has a great dynamic shifts throughout the entire album. It can go from really intense moments to really gentle and acoustic moments. Now, the intense moments are great. You wouldn't really expect me to say this about the Arcade Fire, but I think they really know how to rock out really well, in their own kind of quirky way, with violins and strings, etc. Because that's a focal point of the album, is the strings, is the obscure instrumentation that they layer on here. And they really know how to go from really rocking out to going to really soft, acoustic, intimate moments, or vice versa. One song on here that is notable for that kind of dynamic arc is Un année sans la mer. I don't know really how to pronounce French, even though I did take it for a year. And that it starts out really quiet and gentle with an electric guitar, but it's really more picked gently than anything, with the lead singer, Win Butler, and his wife, Regine, singing good harmonies. And then at the end, though, what I really like about it has this burst of electric guitars, and the drums come in pounding, and it really shifts the song in a nice direction. They're very dynamic songs on this album. And there's just it's kind of a ball of energy. Win especially is just very energetic on this album. And, he whoops in the middle of songs. He, sings in kind of a post-punk manner, and it works very well. The whole album works very well, and it really is a unique record. And like I said, sets the standard for indie rock in the decade of the 2000s. Exotic instrumentation, like I said before, is prevalent. The strings are prevalent, especially in the last song, in the back seat, which I love. Regine sings, and it's very intense. She's talking about, I think, a car crash that she got into, and it's very intense, and the strings flourish really nicely with her emotive singing, and the song works very well. And like I said, there's great rock out moments, like Power Out, Neighborhood Number 3, Power Out, which is this reverb-drenched song, because there's a lot of reverb on this album, but it's a good kind of reverb. It does give it a feeling of space and depth. And also, Neighborhood Number 2, Leica. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's a great song too. That's probably the most intense and most abrasive song, because while they know how to be gentle, they know how to be acoustic and intimate, they also know how to be abrasive with the noise and, the scratching of the instruments, etc. So it's a very good, well-rounded record that is really satisfying. But sometimes for me, since I've only owned this album for about a month and a half, the quieter moments can get a little boring, even though the lyrics are great. Yeah, the lyrics throughout this album are very reflective and great. But the song Kettles, Neighborhood Number 4, is a bit boring, I will admit. And it kind of draws the record down where it is, and I dislike that. But overall, it's a great album, and I would recommend listening to it if you enjoy alternative indie rock of the 90s/2000s. And it's just a well-rounded, great record. Now, going into the packaging, I love the packaging on this album, though. It's very simple and very reflective of the music. You have a quill and Arcade Fire written down. And then you have this great inner piece with flowers and, some kind of queen that's spurting out all this reflective ink. And the lyrics on the back. It also has an insert inside, kind of like a funeral pamphlet. So overall, I would give this album an 8.5 out of 10. Very good. Sometimes the quieter moments can draw the album back a bit when it's really chugging along. It can draw back. That's my issue with the record. But overall, I would recommend listening to it. And if you don't like indie rock, I think this is a good album to start with. And there you go. This is Mr. Maximus Film. This is Arcade Fire's 2004 album Funeral that I've been rambling on about. Thanks to all who have subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed yet and you're liking my videos, do so. We are approaching 70, I believe, right now, and hopefully 100 if I'm more consistent with my videos. So hopefully we'll reach 100 subscribers by the end of this summer. That's my goal. So anyway, this is Mr. Maximus Film. Comment. I always like comments on my videos, and I like responding to comments, and I read every single one. Trust me. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.